Three,
two,
1, and we're live.
We're live. Let's go.
Hello, and welcome to the XXL podcast. My name's Drew, and this is the one and only Josh. And we're here to hopefully entertain you guys today. So, we have a very special guest on the podcast today. It's a good friend of mine, known him for a long time, and Josh also knows him as well. Joshua, it's another Joshua Michael Hardin.
Ooh, full name. Very formal.
Full name. Shall we get him on the podcast? Let's do it.
Here we go. He's coming in. He's been waiting a little while, so I'm hoping that he's not wandered off somewhere. Here he is.
There he is. Look at him.
How are you, mate?
Hey, look at you. Like, nice little setup there. No?
I was just going to say, the kitchen looks
Thank you. I like my painting in the
swank.
background. Cheers.
The kitchen is almost complete. It's
Looks
not quite
beautiful,
there
mate.
yet,
Looks,
but it's almost
it's really
complete.
good. I'm liking
How are we
the...
both?
Not too bad. The boys are back. I was tempted to have a beer, but I went for a hot chocolate instead.
I went for
chocolate.
a glass of wine.
I wasn't sure what to go for.
Some
so I
OJ.
thought,
I went straight out with the coffee, lads. I'm here for
Did
the
you
night.
realise the time? It's like, yeah.
Josh is
like
down
10
to
past
bed at
11
4
now.
o'clock in the morning. Josh is
Everyone
going
will
for a
be gone.
workout.
I'll just still be here.
He's still
Hey, but-
live. Just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Josh, how you been, mate? What have you been up to? How's things?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, I'm busy now. I'm actually back to work. So it's nice to actually feel like I have a purpose with my life again. As lockdown was tough. I think for me personally, it was just tough not being able to do anything. Obviously, both know me. I'm a very hyperactive person. I'm a very on the go. I'm very bubbly. So for me, being locked in four walls for that long was tough. It was tough.
Yeah. How did you find it? Like, obviously, like you said, kind of being locked in. Did you find it? Well, I was going to say, none of us have ever really done this before, but like being in a flat, was that hard? Like, but obviously we kind of have the ability to still go out, but not being able to kind of just be out more and kind of have that free reign a little bit.
We were very lucky that we've obviously got two dogs like you and Lou. It's almost an excuse to go out.
Yeah.
So we were walking them more than we should have, three or four times a day, but it was a reason for us to go out. It was a reason for us to do something, because otherwise we had no reason to leave the house, because we weren't meant to. We're not meant to do an awful lot, but we had no reason to leave the house. Our sole purpose to feel any satisfaction for the day was just to walk the dogs.
Yeah, I think I actually totally agree with that. I think actually me and Lou in the end were using it as an excuse, because there was an element of like at the first of like lockdown that when we go out, you felt like you're being judged, or like the thing is, like, you walk past and you see people and they're kind of looking like, out, what are you doing? And they were kind of.
Me and Laura were thinking as we're walking on the dogs, we're like, oh my God, has that person seen us this morning? Like, do they know we've already been out 2 times already and we're on our third walk? Like, are we getting in trouble?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And you're thinking like, that was a weird thing, wasn't it? Oh, you can only go out for one bit of exercise a day. Who's
I've really
policing
struggled with that.
Who's policing that?
Yeah, really struggled with that one.
How do you police that more than anything? How would you even police that?
Yeah. Like, I know
it was advice. There's no way you can gauge how many times people are going out in a day.
Yeah. I think a lot of neighbours have probably fallen out. Just purely for
I can imagine a lot of couples have fallen out, not just neighbours. I'm talking actual people, couples.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought there was a thing in the US, I think it was in LA, and they were basically, the governor said, look, if you see anyone breaking the lockdown rules in some kind of way, that you can snitch on them and you'll get money. And
I
heard something. I don't know if it was actually true or not, but
God, I would have been on the phone 24/7. I've seen my next door neighbour go out for the second time today.
Lockdown's over. Drew rolls up in a rolls.
The only one that's done well out of lockdown.
Yeah. The economy. What economy?
Yeah, this furlough's been fine. What do you mean? What do you mean you've been struggling on 80% pay? I've done great.
But yeah, no, it's been mad. And like you said, couples wise, how have you guys been? I know me and Lou have kind of butted head a couple of times and stuff like that. Like you said, that 4 walls. Although we got obviously land and go out.
I think it's almost only natural. I think you're not in a good relationship if you don't squabble sometimes or don't have the heart to disagree on something. I think it's a healthy thing for couples to disagree, because if not, someone's always potentially just bending over backwards.
Yeah.
It was tough for me and Lauren, and in the 2 years that we've been together, and probably for however long you and Lou have been together, you've never actually been locked in, not actually leaving each other's because you've got work. Obviously, Lou was still working, whereas Lauren and me weren't working at all. So we were just me and her continuously, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was lovely. We actually really appreciated the time we got together, and it was actually nice to spend 24 hours with her. But at the same time, it was hard because there is no respite. We don't live in a 4-bedroom house where I can bugger off to my bowling alley downstairs or my second living room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've got nothing else. We've just got a 2-bed flat, which we are very happy in, and wouldn't want anything more right now. But there is no escape because it is just a 2-bed flat.
Yeah, I think that's a massive.
It's very new as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. We've only been here about 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is,
that's a real test.
You're almost 6 months too early, because if you just got in, then you'd have so much DIY. It would have kept you busy through the whole thing.
Well, you say this. I would have, because I don't know if you can see it. We've not got a splashback on that bit yet. That's the final bit of the kitchen that needs to be done. But I had to polyfill a few holes in where we've had to change some plug sockets around and bits and bobs. Yeah. But it took me about 5 weeks for me to actually find a place that would give me polyfiller, because it's not an essential item. So I was trying to go to B&Q, Tool Station, Screwfix, trying to collect the items I needed, but they wouldn't sell me that because it's not an essential. Then they wouldn't sell me that because it's not essential. I think on one day I had to go to 3 different places to get 2 items because they classed essentials as different things in some places.
I was going to say, that's pretty weird that, like, I'd find it real weird that if you were open as a shop, but you weren't allowed to buy a certain thing because it's not essential. Like, that would be such a weird thing. And like you said, having to jump around the shops and stuff like that.
B&Q is where I was trying to get everything from, and I could only have selected items that were classed as essential items in the start of it anyway, at the very beginning.
I'm assuming that's not the same now. What are you laughing at, Josh?
No, well, it's just a stupid idea.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because surely you wouldn't be able to go into Tesco's and be like, oh, I want to buy that magazine. But it's not
you say this when I went to, obviously, Pets at Home, just because obviously the dogs run out of food as they do. On part of the shelves where the toys were, they said, we are not selling this product, it's not essential. And that was on some of the aisles on Pets at Home.
Bloody essential to the dog.
They put
livelihood
paper over rabbit hutches thing, so you couldn't interact with any of the animals or anything because that's not essential. So you could literally only buy the dog food and treats, I think it was. You couldn't buy a dog bed or anything. It all had these markers on it saying not essential.
Jesus, like, you think the managers or like, I guess, look, it's coming from a higher power, so they can't really do much. But you think if you were owning a shop like that and you're thinking, what? I've got people in the store anyway. Like, surely just let them.
In my head, I'm in the store anyway, so what does it matter if I'm picking up something from aisle 2 to aisle 10? In my head, it doesn't make a difference. I'm in the shop.
The only thing I could ever think really is like
government, though.
You pick it up and then you put it back. But then, we found out, about 2 weeks ago, something like that, that essentially, like the whole CDC and the WHO, not the band, the World Health Organization, they basically said that, like, asymptomatic people, like a huge number of people who are asymptomatic, you can't actually catch it from them because they're not physically showing symptoms, so they're not physically kind of coughing or spluttering on you. And then
not actually putting it out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then apparently, actually, the CDC, I think, was saying you can't catch it from surfaces now.
Okay.
What to believe? So, but then, like, and then
I don't think anyone does.
No,
and I don't even think the
knows,
government fully understand it. Hence, why the rules keep changing, the implications keep changing. Yeah, everything's going to keep changing because the more they get to know it, the more we're allowed to do this, that, and the other, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mad. Mad times. What times are alive, eh?
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things happened in 2020 already.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I'm waiting for the aliens.
I could do with going back to the middle of 2019 and just spinning off. didn't have to rest this.
Hit
To
the
be honest.
pause button.
Yeah.
What's
Maybe
work
just
like
go
for you?
So work at the start of lockdown was, I'm going to say the first 2 weeks, everyone just stopped. I think it just sort of hit everyone in the head, and everyone was just like, well, I just need to sort of readjust.
Yeah.
Everyone had to work from home. So people just wanted to sort of get into sync with how their new schedules were going to be, if they're going to be able to get an hour at home, if they're not going to be able to get a little bit of time alone.
Yeah.
So the first couple of weeks were complete write-offs. And do you know what? It was almost quite nice to just take a seat back and just think, do you know what? I can't help this.
Yeah. It's out of my
I
control.
have to just embrace it. And I did get a little bit down and depressed at the beginning because it's like, I'm not earning any money. I've still got bills coming out, blah, 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 blah. But again, it was just one of them things that I couldn't do anything about it. And if I beat myself up at the end of the day, I'm only going to make myself feel worse.
Yeah.
So, and then there was a lot of help out there. So we did get the mortgage freezed. I got reduced payments on my truck. So there was help out there.
Yeah. And was that like stuff that you had to physically go and ask for? Because I think a lot of these companies, sometimes they're like, unless you ask, we'll just keep going. Like we're not going to come to you and say, oh, we're going to come and help you. Like that was something that you basically called up and you kind of chased it.
Oh yeah. We had to apply for the mortgage, and that, to be fair, we got an answer within 24 hours. And I think that's just an automated thing anyway.
Okay.
And then my truck payments and things like that, I did have to call up. And annoyingly, they did still take full payment in the first 2 times anyway. But, we refunded it and they sorted it out eventually. But, do you know what? Once you ask, I think the help was there. The only thing that didn't work in my favour was the government grant. I got no help in that sense.
Which I was surprised about, because I've obviously known you a long time. And I know if there's one thing that you've been good at, it's been keeping all of your books in order.
I keep everything in order, and the thing that messed me up is in the year 2018 to 19, I had a part-time job. I wasn't self-sufficient on the personal training. Now, I only put, I think that about £5,000 went through on PAYE, and because of that year, I wasn't self-employed. I was part-employed, part self-employed. I don't apply, or I'm not eligible for the grant.
Jesus
so
Christ.
Because of that little side bit, which literally just put through just pocket money. It was just keeping me ticking over. It was just a company that I could ring up and say, look, I've got no clients today. Can I come in and do some work? And they'd just say yes. So it was a really cushy job for me and really nice benefit at the time. But sort of shot me in the foot in the long run. But again, it is what it is. I can mope about it or just get on with it.
Yeah. Jesus, that's the stress that I think a lot of people potentially... Actually, to be honest, the stress that probably a lot of people went through, whatever, in terms of, and probably is going to actually ramp up even more, is like the whole financial situation with the end of next month, furlough ending / lowering.
Yeah.
And then businesses are going to have to basically call the shots and be like, what do you want to do? Like
they've got a decision to make that point.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of businesses are saying they're going to open in the next couple of weeks, aren't they? 15th to the 20th
I think they have
June.
to. The more you look around, the more businesses are closing because there's only a certain amount of time that they can keep paying out to employees. I know obviously a lot of companies aren't paying their employees, but I also know a lot of clients of mine that are still paying their clients, their employees out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients are keeping their cleaners on, keeping their dog walkers, their dog groomers, and all these things. Even though they're not doing the service, they're still paying them just to try and help the economy.
Yeah.
But there's only a prolonged time that can be kept up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we really need to get this economy back up and running quick time.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to get worse and worse the longer this goes on.
And unfortunately, one of the things that's been proven is the worse the economy gets, the worse the death rate gets of suicide, which is frightening.
Yeah.
So it could be just as much.
And that's understandable.
Yeah.
You've got to think of the panic. And like you were saying, people have been worried, people have been nervous, people have been very anxious about what's coming and what the situation they're in. We're very lucky that Lauren is a teacher and has still been on full pay and has been lucky that she can work from home.
Yeah. Talking about Lauren, obviously, I think you said that she's in bed right now.
She is indeed.
It's a school
I'm
night.
trying to be quiet, but for you two that know me, that's very difficult. Very, very difficult.
It's a school night. How's that been?
Found it.
Yeah, how's that been? Because I imagine frustration is huge, especially when you might not be able to go and see certain bits of your family. I know Amanda, who's down the road from us, she was saying she had to go into the schools, but yet she couldn't see her granddaughter. And it was like, oh, I've got to look after kids that aren't even mine, and I can't even see my own. How's she found that?
Well, we were quite lucky in the sense that it's just bittersweet, really. Not lucky, but lucky that Lauren is classed as quite vulnerable for her personal circumstances,
Sure.
and the fact that her mum is disabled and her dad's terminally ill. So she's almost a carer for them as well. So
Yeah.
the second that they said, look, anyone that doesn't need to be in, don't come in, her headmaster just said, no, there's no chance you're coming in.
Yeah.
So she was able to send the work into the kids that weren't in, to just obviously send in the work. She was still doing lots of work from home, so she didn't actually sort of take any time off. But for her, I think that was worse. She almost enjoyed going into school in the sense that it gives, again, it goes back
It's
to
like
purpose, feeling
purpose.
like she had a purpose.
Yeah.
So she has struggled. She's actually sort of ill at the moment. She's a little bit under the weather, hence why I'm trying to be quiet so she can sleep.
Yeah.
She went actually back to school not this Monday, the Monday before, for the first time, did a full week, and then within, 5 days, fell ill.
Wow.
And she
What
wasn't even around any kids. So we don't know. She's just got a bit of a runny nose and a cough. Obviously, for precaution reasons, we have actually taken a
Test.
COVID kit.
Yeah.
So we've actually send out a test. So we did that yesterday, so we should have the results for that tomorrow just to check. We don't think it is because she's not got half of the symptoms, but she just has got a bit of a cough and a runny nose, but no high temperature, no taste buds changing, all that malarkey. So for my personal self as well, because obviously I don't want to endanger my clients, because at the moment I am seeing my clients face to face, obviously abiding by the social distancing rule, but obviously I'm back to work, and obviously I wouldn't want to put my clients in a position of danger if Lauren potentially has got something. I mean, she's had it for a couple of days now, and I've got not a single symptom, so I'm hoping that it's absolutely nothing. It's just a little bit of a cold.
Yeah.
He's hoping.
It's fingers crossed for her. It's such a weird time because I remember, so when, Jesus, I don't even know, it seems like forever now, probably about 2 months ago, that sounds weird to say that, when it was kind of 2 weeks in, and they're saying, oh, you'll be short of breath, you'll be like this persistent cough and things like that. The more you get told it, you're thinking, have I got that? And you think, like, you're like, and you're like, Jesus, I've got a cough now. Like, I must have got it. Or I can't remember what it was. Like, I was sneezing because of that hay fever and stuff like that. And then everyone was like, is that a symptom? Have you got symptoms? Like, what? And you're thinking, I don't know, do I? Like, it's amazing how,
you question yourself and you question your own health.
Yeah, you do. And you're thinking, Jesus, maybe I have got it. And it was to the point where, when you need to clear your throat and you feel like, oh, if something's caught and it's like wheezy. And
you can't do that in public.
Yeah.
You can't do that in public. Everyone looks at you. You're just afraid to cough now in public. You walk around the supermarket like, can't cough, can't do it. Everyone just looks at you.
Yeah, I was walking around Tesco's and someone looked at me when I think I sneezed. Yeah, I did sneeze. Yeah, and she looked at me and ugh. I was like, what? So I've only just sneezed. Like, it's not a symptom. Don't worry. But yeah, it's just amazing.
I was thinking about this the other day. Like, obviously, I know there's things out there that there's illnesses and diseases and things like that that obviously have things that cure them. But when I get ill, the only thing that I do is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it is in here. All I think it is sometimes it's mind over matter. This does crazy things. And like you just said it exactly there. Like, you're being fed information, so you're automatically then thinking to yourself, oh God, I
had a cough, but has it been for 3 days, 4 days? And then all of a sudden you talk yourself into something worse.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, it's crazy how your mind works and how it thinks. And sometimes I feel like, I don't think, obviously, thinking positive ain't going to cure cancer. I'm not stupid. But sometimes I just
The
feel
power
like
of the mind is insane. I'm 100% with you there, Drew. The mind is a crazy, crazy tool that we barely even know how to fully use, let's say.
I was going to say, there's been studies that have shown that actually you can kind of simulate / actually release chemicals from just thought. You know, when they say like, oh, imagine that you're doing it, like physically go through each of the processes or like do a certain thing and almost go through step by step and then imagine what actually physically the outcome is. Apparently that's got some kind of stigma in your mindset that you can physically release chemicals for that. And I'm sure there's been loads of studies about, well, I think you don't even need studies. I've seen it with some of my friends and family and stuff like that where they have got cancer, unfortunately. And someone who it ends their world in terms of mentally up here. And you suddenly see them as a person and the whole of their anatomy and physiology just decline. But then I've seen someone who has been almost like kick it as a, look, I've got it. Yeah, but don't worry. It's going to hate me. It will leave soon. Like that kind of attitude. Like, don't worry. I'll knock this for 6. Like, don't worry about me.
I'll beat it.
Exactly that.
I think your sister hit the nail on the head the other time, Josh, when we had her on.
What was that?
I think your sister hit the nail on the head when she was saying about how we're not built for this. We're built to, what was it she was saying? We're built to hunt.
Oh, like saber-toothed tigers, fight or flight.
Yeah. The saber-toothed tiger theory or whatever it may have been. Like,
primordial brain.
I don't think she could have put the analogy in any better words, really. Like, there's so much more that we probably haven't tapped into.
Definitely, 100% agree with you. The mind is incredibly powerful. The mind over matter is insane. You think how many times you cut yourself or you scrape yourself and you don't even notice, and the second you notice a bit of blood, you're like, oh yeah, that does hurt, you know? No, that's all rubbish, total rubbish. But in your mind, it now hurts.
Yeah.
So
I've broken my thumb before and didn't realise till a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Because I'd done something that I wouldn't have thought would have broken my thumb. And then 2 days later, I'm looking at my hand thinking, you know what, that ain't right. Why's my thumb look different to the other one? Went to hospital. Oh yeah, you've dislocated your thumb. I'm like, oh, back into spot. There you go, done and dusted.
Is that jobs are good? Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, we only
just crazy.
10% of our brain. That's stupid.
As soon as I knew it was there, I was like, yeah, you know what, it hurts. Like, and it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on to something, unless you wanted to carry on, I was going to move on to not something a bit more positive. But
go on, spin it, Drew. Spin the topic. Go on.
Yeah. I was just going to say, obviously,
let us know.
We've all been in lockdown. We've all been here. I've been saying about how I want to learn to do something different or use this time wisely. Have you put your mind to anything other than obviously doing the house and doing the kitchen, which looks incredible, by the way? Have you learned any other new skills or anything like that at all while you've been in lockdown?
I would love to say yes and love to pretend like I've been really productive, but I will be completely honest because I know you boys, and in that sense, no. Obviously, we've been doing lots of bits and bobs for the house. I've been still working. A lot of it has been working. After that sort of 2 weeks at the beginning, a lot of my clients just switched to online sessions.
Yeah.
So my days just got a little bit shorter because obviously there's no travel time. I could just run back to back with not ever leaving the house. But I was still probably doing 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, potentially some days of clients. So I was still kept busy. And then, do you know what? I've just enjoyed it. I've got back into playing the PlayStation a lot more just because I've had a lot more time. We've watched a lot of films. We've caught up on a lot of TV. And we've just, well, to be fair, I'm probably keeping Amazon in business at the moment. So, like, it's a joke. We're getting 2 or 3 Amazon parcels a day of things that we might need or things that we're doing. Today, we had 3 packages arrive from IKEA. So we had 2 new bedside tables and a chest of drawers. So today we spent 4 hours just building them.
Yeah.
So we've sort of been keeping ourselves busy. I think you always find
not have to put in £100 of petrol in that truck every week.
Oh, you say that, Drew, but the truck decided to blow up the other day. So, yeah, I had to put more than just £100 in that week. So
Rough.
that was just probably, I'm going to say about 6 days after I actually got back out on the road.
Oh,
But 6 days in. What went right is a better question. No, I don't know. Me and the dogs were out all morning.
yeah.
We come back. We literally were back for 20 minutes for a bit of lunch. Went back out to the car, went to start it up, and it just wasn't right. It wasn't moving. The revs wouldn't go very high. Tried to drive it up the road, and it was just making a horrendous noise. Called the RSC out. The RSC literally took one look at it, one listen to the engine, and went, "That ain't good." So I was like, "Any other advice?" And he went, "No, that ain't good." And that is literally all he said.
What,
he went, "Do you have a mechanic?" Yeah, he went, "Look, do you have a mechanic?" And I went, "Yeah." Rung my guy. He listened to it over the phone. He went, "Yeah, that's not good." So I was like, right, it's clearly not good. And in the end, the oil pump had blew.
£1,100 later.
A little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the oil pump blew, and because the oil pump blew, it then seized the turbo. So the turbo then went as well. So I had to replace the oil pump and the turbo.
What is it, diesel?
And that was after only 6 days working. Yeah, diesel. Only done 48,000 miles as well. So it's not even like it's been running to the ground.
Did you say you've got it on finance, right?
Yeah, hire purchase.
Okay.
Wait, hire to purchase or whatever it is. Whatever I own the car at the end of it anyway.
Yeah.
No balloon payment, nothing.
So then you're in total control of the car's affairs and everything then?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
so it has now made me question whether I lease a truck next. That potentially is my next option, is to go into leasing. Once the truck's paid off, maybe just getting rid of it and just going to leasing a truck. Because then I don't...
Really? Would you not want to keep it for a while?
Depends what goes wrong and how it lasts.
Thinking of having that money. Listen, I didn't mean listen. You've just thought out over much. Listen here, yeah, I've worked in car sales.
Go on, Drew, but give us the best.
No. I can't start slating every car industry. Do not do that. But obviously, I should take my own advice as well, because I've been obviously paying for my car, and I'm at the point now where I'm coming right to the end of my payments. I'm like, yeah, get rid of it, get done with it. I
know what you're going to say, and you're 100% right.
It's that payment you're putting out. Just imagine having that in your account every month. That's all I'm thinking of.
Oh, and you're 100% right. My truck cost me about 350 quid a month. So it would be nice just to have that lump sum there each month.
Putting that away for a year or whatever.
Yeah,
you could put a down payment. You could put a nice deposit on a car.
You say you almost.
Or even buy
the only issue you've got to add up is if it's going to last and if something else will go wrong. So
how old is the truck? It's not that old. It's quite new, right?
4 years old. Nothing should go wrong, and it should go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But with them sort of trucks, my mechanic guy did say, and he's not someone that would lie to me or anything like that, but he just said, he goes, "I wouldn't have bought Ford Transit if I was you." He goes, "Transits are renowned for the oil pumps going, always engine problems, always turbos going." He just said they're workhorses. He goes, "They do have problems." Yeah. And he goes, "I would never own a Transit of any sort." He goes, "If I was you," he goes, "VW are the best for their engines." He goes, "But even still," he goes, "I wouldn't buy one."
Really?
So it's weighing up the options. If I get to the end of this term and then think, right, over the years I've spent X amount on the truck, I will weigh it up whether it will be more beneficial to, just lease something, and I haven't got to fork out for anything that goes wrong, and I get a new truck every 3 years. It might be a little bit more expensive, and I do never own the car, but
anything goes wrong,
£6,000 that I spent on it, I've now potentially saved in this 3 years because I wouldn't have had to pay out anything.
Yeah.
So it is just weighing up the options. So I can see the pros and cons, but I will try and get as much out of it as possible. 100%.
If everyone could fork out the money to afford a car like that, PCPs, HPs, wherever they are, they wouldn't be a thing. But It's just everyone wants a new car, whether they have to pay for it monthly or whether they can afford it outright.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Talking of, you said about PlayStation earlier. Has everyone seen the new one, number 5?
PS5. Oof.
No, do you know what? I've not even looked that into it. I saw something on it about 6 months ago, and then that was it. I've not read into it or anything like that.
It looks like it's been designed by someone at Dyson.
I was about to say that,
Fine.
or Elon Musk.
It looks like a Dyson fan.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can get a picture of it right now, just so I'm not missing out.
Yeah. It looks
Let's
like
have
a
a little look.
stormtrooper has just been like kind of broken up and put back together again a little bit. Looks quite
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Just because it's white, God.
Yeah. All right. This is now not.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a funky design, isn't
colours
it?
in.
No.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That's interesting. I'm not sure I would have chosen that design myself, personally.
I kind of like it. I like it. It's funky, but I also think
Different.
they're letting this out. Like, what is it? What's good about it? Drew, you might know. I don't know if you've read much into it. I know we discussed it the other day, but
I mean, it's a difficult one. Obviously, to be fair, I haven't done that much into it.
It's going to run quicker. It's going to have more storage. It's going to have better graphics. It's going to be your new iPhone. It's going to be that little bit better, isn't it? It's just going to be a standard upgrade. Yeah, it's perfect.
Which is why I have no interest in buying a new console anytime soon. The only time I'll buy a new console is when they start making games that are exclusive to that console.
okay.
If they start making games that aren't backwards compatible, so when the new Xbox X Elite or whatever it is,
I think it's something like that,
comes out, until they release games that can only be played on that console, it's just not worth making the upgrade. Like, I've got the...
I don't think it is straight away at all, because you pay an arm and a leg for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You've only got to wait 6 months and the price will drop. And
you
said, you're not going to get exclusive games in that time anyway, really.
Yeah. They'll bring out a slim version.
Although if they release GTA 6 and that only comes out on new consoles, I might have to reevaluate the situation. All that money I've been putting away during lockdown is going to be going back out again.
That's the thing. I think it's going to be very expensive. I reckon it's going to be looking at around the £500 mark, which is a lot to be spending on a console.
Easily, man.
But
considering now you can get like an Xbox One
for 200 quid,
or for 200, and games. And they even do deals with like Now TV passes and stuff like that, or Disney Now.
Yeah, there's a lot of incentives now.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, they have to do that because obviously there is the new releases coming out. But I mean, it's not like if you were to buy an Xbox One now, it's not like it's going to be completely unplayable for the next 2 or 3 years.
No, not at all.
But if I look at the way that phones have gone, I remember my first phone cost me 100 quid, pay as you go. Now we're looking at like £1,500. Yeah, £1,000 outright. Like, surely you're getting. I guess you're not. It's more the tariff which costs. But yeah, I'm just looking at it and thinking I could see these consoles eventually being like £1,000. But then would people be able to afford?
You think about it. You can spend that on a computer. Like, if you had the proper setup for a computer, Drew, I didn't even know if you've got figures on that, but that's thousands, right?
Oh, mate. Depending on what you want to do with a computer.
Yeah, like the proper gaming setup.
Yeah.
An entry-level gaming PC starts off around about 100 quid. Entry level. If you want to have one with like good graphics cards, and a lot of people build their own PCs, they put thousands into it.
Yeah,
it's madness. Gaming's already there.
One of my clients has built his PC, and he's actually, funny enough, someone I've been playing a bit of Call of Duty with on the PlayStation, because obviously it's cross-compatible. So he's been on the computer, I've been on the PlayStation, and he's shown me it when I've been around his training him before. He has built it from scratch, bit by bit, and he showed me all these compartments are going, and it is nuts. But again, he spent upwards of about £2,000, I think.
Graphics cards in themselves can be thousands, and that's just one little
tiny little thing.
Jesus,
it's mad.
Why are people spending this much money?
Gaming's already at the £1,000 mark. Don't worry about that.
But then again, if you think about
it's
it, is that I don't even know this well, but they've got obviously these competitions now, which is almost one of the biggest money makers sports. If you call it a sport, I guess you can. Like they're like
Yeah,
100%.
Can you?
100%
Yeah, can you?
competitive gaming. 100% sport, bro.
Okay.
100%.
sport
The amount of training they have to do.
thumb training.
It sounds stupid because all they're doing is just playing the game, but yeah, in some sense you are right. They do have to technically train.
Josh, I guarantee someone who competitively games will have more of a mental workout. Or this is going to be controversial.
No, yeah, 1,000% than me lifting weights. Trust me on that.
Like, don't get me wrong, you're 100% you'll be in the bed afterwards, absolutely KO'd. But mentally, like my little brother, Ross, he done a 19-hour gaming challenge the other day for COVID-19. So
horrendous.
8 o'clock in the morning
Square eyes.
3 o'clock the following morning, just constant gaming. Streamed it all on Twitch and everything like that. He didn't wake up till about 5 o'clock the next day.
Yeah, can't blame him.
Like,
Jeez.
I mean, it's ridiculous how dragged. It's probably to do with obviously the fact that you're also looking at a screen as well. That's probably not helping.
There's got to be that adrenaline as well. I know that sounds really silly, but like when you're so close to completing something, maybe.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've definitely broken a few sweats playing in lockdown, and I've definitely missed a few heartbeats when it's got a little bit serious.
Josh, you were breaking sweats when we were playing zombies 4 years ago.
That was back in the day. In the day. But you do. When things get a little bit tight, even in gaming, you're going to break a bit of a sweat sometimes. So
burning calories.
Or break your desk in frustration.
Break your desk, break your TV, break something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy though. Like you mentioned, obviously competitive gaming. People like how it's cut. Like I'm a massive basketball fan. Like I love basketball. I love watching it. I love playing it on Xbox, not in real life. God.
Let's just get this straight.
Imagine me trying to come up against like a 7-foot centre. Go away. But they've got an entire league just dedicated to them playing the game.
Yeah.
It's an entire league just. So each real life NBA team has a competitive NBA gaming club. Okay. So they all they play together. So I don't know, Golden State, for example, pretty much well known at the moment. Well, more well known gaming community, basketball community. They've got Golden State Gaming. They've won a competition last year, and they hold a couple of these competitions each year.
Yeah.
And it's like £250,000 worth of prize money.
Oh mate, what about that kid that won that Fortnite competition thing
for like 2 million or whatever?
I was going to say, didn't he win plus wasn't it plus 2 million? I can't remember.
He became a million in a night. He became a millionaire in a night. It was mad.
But wasn't he like? Didn't he come second or something? And then number
16?
1, 50 mil.
What?
I'm sure someone.
No.
Was it?
I'm sure the winner only got about 2 million.
It was a couple. It wasn't that. It was a couple of mil. But he was like, I swear he was like 16.
I was going to say he was no older than 16. I don't think.
Yeah, he was
could you
young.
Imagine? Why couldn't they have this back in the day? God.
Yeah. Imagine
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I would have been sweating out quick scopes. Pow.
Cash money.
200 grand later. Yes.
Yeah, you say that, right? Where was that in 10 years? Where's it going to be in 10 years? Like, what's the next thing? Like, we didn't have these competitions in 10 years. What's going to be there in another 10 years?
Mate,
what competition are they going to be doing then?
100%. Surely it's got to be like VR. 100%.
It has to be. VR's got to be the way forward.
VR, that in people watching spectators or whatever, and you're just walking through some warehouse or whatever situation. You could do it now, can't you? You can get those backpacks, put on the VR, go into a warehouse, and then basically you can go around and you're somewhere else. Like, that's got to be the future of it.
I think that is the future of gaming in some sense, 100%. I don't know how.
What Avatar?
It's
have you played VR?
Yeah, I've played VR at Tommy's house. Again, this was some years ago when the PlayStation first brought their VR out. He bought a kit which was bloody expensive at the time. And do you know what? It was very immersive. You did feel like you were there, and we did get Yeah, you do get quite lost in it. I mean, we did have some drunk occasions where we decided to put it on, and it's very immersive at that point. But it is very surreal at the same time because you get very lost in it. You take it off, and you're almost like, "Wow, I almost forgot where you were."
Yeah.
It's funny we were talking about this in the last podcast, Josh. We were talking about Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
My first VR experience was of Jurassic Park, the game, and it was mad. It was crazy. Although I remember standing on a cliff, just looking out over the park, and then you just hear doof, doof, doof behind you, and there's just
and you should be running by that point.
And you know it's a game, but yet you do not want to turn around,
panic,
and you're just there like, oh, it's mad, it's crazy.
But isn't it weird how like you can be fooled so easily? Like you see it with your own eyes, you know that you're in the situation, and I've never given it a go, but I'm assuming because there's no comparison really, but you know when you're driving and you see people with headphones in or headphones on, I think, what the hell are you doing? I wouldn't be able to do that. I need to be able to hear the sound of the car, the road and stuff like that. And I think if I'm doing this as I'm going along, when you're in one of those VR sets, if you like didn't have your headphones on or whatever it is, surely you'd be like, you kind of in a split reality. You can kind of hear what's going on, but yet you can see different. So you kind of don't really go in. When you put the headphones on, if you put the headphones on, does it suddenly like, right, you're there? Everything changes. Is that where you get like properly fooled into it? Or is it kind of, you could just...
100%. I think if I remember rightly, you put them on first and you put the goggles on first, so then you're almost in like complete darkness. So then your senses are almost turned off.
Yeah.
And they sort of turn on the VR thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Drew, but that's how I remember my few experiences. So then it just turns on and you're almost there. But it is very much like you are just teleported into this new place. And me and Lauren have done one before, and we're walking along a wooden bridge, actually typical long wooden bridge over a big gaping cliff or something like that, something out of a horror film or whatnot. And a part of it, there were two planks missing. You had to almost jump sort of big step over it. And you can see the people in front of you because the ones we had on, you could see everyone else sort of in this fake world. You could see everyone ahead of you, and you could see every single person stuttering at this point. Now, we're in a warehouse. We're exactly like you said, we're in a warehouse. We're on just normal, plain concrete floor, but every single person is stuttering and struggling to get over this bridge. Because they had to jump.
Yeah.
Oh, it's mad, isn't it?
I think the easiest, like, from the experience, I obviously got to use them at work at my last job, when we obviously got to use them to sell them and things like that.
Yeah.
We would have to try them out beforehand. And we would video each other when we put the headset on and the earphones on and everything like that. So it was crazy watching it back. But you're there. This is how I would put it into perspective. You've got your headphones on. You've got the screen on. Whatever you have to do in that world, or wherever you're doing in real life. So I would walk, and I'd walk into a chair or a table or whatever, which is in real life. But the first thing I would do is look down in the game.
Right. So you'd see nothing, but you naturally...
But your natural instinct is to think, I've just walked into something, even though I haven't walked into something in what I'm in.
Yeah.
But then again, that goes back to the point we were talking about earlier, which is the mind over matter state.
100%.
And there's something I watched on Netflix about a week ago, quite recently. And it's just this magic man. I can't remember what it's called. Magic for Humans or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And there's one thing, and they have people sitting at a desk just like this, and they put a mirror. See, Amazon parcel. They put a mirror there, so there's a mirror image of their arm, so they can just see the arm that's on the other side, and they then start poking it here, but because they can't see it, they don't feel it. So at one point of it, he's literally got a pin stuck in this guy's hand, and he doesn't feel anything.
Yeah.
The second he removes it, the guy's like, "Oh, my hand," because the brain now registered that there's a pin in his hand. But before he couldn't see it, so he didn't register pain. It was quite interesting to watch.
I'd like to try that at home.
I'm gonna let you do that one, Drew. You let me know. how You get
I'm
on.
gonna stick a mirror in front of my arm and start playing a knife game.
True. You know, most of those things they say, do not try this at home. You'll be the one person which comes
100%.
through.
That tries it.
Saying don't try it at home
Is an
means you
element
then
of-
don't have to go try it at home.
There's like
Like back in
the
the day
time.
when the wrestlers used to say, "Don't try this at home." You
Bro,
know, you and your
literally,
brother were always
100%.
practicing. Always practicing.
100%.
the
The amount of
pedigree.
times I used to watch WWE, don't try this at home. Next hour, me and my brother on the trampoline, spine busters, and drops. You know, all the
Choke
moves.
slam.
100%,
Good days.
100%.
They were the good days, man.
They were the good old days. They were.
None of this
Easy
gaming
days.
shit.
Back then, it was all easy. Life was easy when we were young boys.
Isn't it weird, yeah? When as soon as you get, I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I hit that age when you could work, like 16, that was it. I never got support from my mum. God, this sounds like I'm doing a NSPCC.
You sound horrible. I know what you were going to say.
I never got support
Go
from
on
my
now. Say what
dad.
you're going to say. Say it with your chest.
So, yeah, like when I was 16, I went to work. Well, as soon as I was 16, even. And I've never borrowed money from my mum and dad since. But, like,
No, 100%.
being like, I remember the day. Actually, I remember really probably one of the first days where getting your car, driving tests, you go around with your mum and dad doing, your kind of practice and stuff like that. Put up at a station, you give them 20 quid, they're like, look, I'll chuck another 20 quid in there for you, etc. Then the first time I passed, I went to a gas station and I was like, oh no, I have to pay for this now. There's no more.
No,
Like,
it gets expensive now.
yeah, and then suddenly I was like, Jesus, okay. And then obviously like family holidays, like you come in like because you're paying for it and stuff, and you think, oh wow, like this is like you think back to.
It's a life lesson, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a life lesson. It's that next step in understanding money, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm super grateful for it as well because it's suddenly. Well, it wakes you up a lot as to like, oh, this is living, like this is real life. But
Do you know what? It's made you the person you are today at the end of the day.
yeah, exactly that. But like you
100%.
said, when you look at the good old days, like when you were a kid and you didn't have those worries, your worries were basically getting home, getting on the games console, chatting to your mates, getting up for school and going to school. Like, that was such a good time of living. I think everyone says,
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone says, that the school is the best days of your life. I
Yeah.
wouldn't agree.
As soon as you leave.
I would not agree. I'd say the
As soon
best
as,
time.
as,
I would not agree either.
As soon as
I've
you're not
gone into the working world is the best.
oh, bro, school for me was hell. Hated it. 100%. Josh knows.
See,
Hated school.
I always have had, and always will, I think, had a very good work ethic. From 14, I was doing 2 paper rounds. Then I turned 15, and I then got a leafleting job that I ended up getting sacked from in the end because I was never posting them through the doors. I was always just leaving them on the doorstep. But I was always trying to
I
work
thought you
as
were going
much
to
as
say, like,
possible.
putting them in the bin.
No, do you know, I did my job. I just never actually put them in the letterbox. They never told me to, but in the end, they just got rid of me and said, you need to put them through the letterbox. Sorry, we can't have you
Could have
anymore.
just told you that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
You know what?
went from 0 to 100.
Come on, Josh, name and shame the company.
No, I did 2 paper rounds, and then this was just one leaflet drop that was just once a month at the end of the month. So it really wasn't worth anything. I had 2 paper rounds anyway, so I probably was doing something wrong anyway.
Yeah.
But I've always had a good work ethic, so I've always wanted to get working. So even through school, I loved the fact that I was going to work after school. I loved school. I thought school was wicked. It was an easy time in comparison to leaving school, I thought, because then I really had to go and work every day. At least going to school, you could see your friends for 8 hours a day.
But do you think when you're at that age, you don't know that? I think
Oh,
someone
100%.
needs to tell me more, a lot more. Be with your
Oh,
mates.
no, but you know your parents told you. You know your parents told you 100. I know my parents told me 100 times over that these will be the easiest days. It'll get tougher and all of that stuff that any good parent tells their kids. And at the time, you're like, what the hell do they know?
Yeah.
And then you sort of hit that adult stage and you're like, God damn it, they were right all this time. You're never going to tell them, but they were right all this time.
Yeah.
See, I was lucky. I had a bit of a kickstart. I knew from day I was never going to do that well in school in certain subjects. So I needed to give myself that leg up that I could do. So all through year 11, I worked voluntary.
Okay.
So every weekend and every half term and Christmas, I was working at Marks and Spencer's for no money.
Good man.
But I knew that was going to give me a kickstart. Gone.
I was going to say, how did that make you feel? Because at the time, I can imagine you kind of...
At the time, I felt like I lost out on a lot.
But...
I felt like I lost out on a lot.
Yeah.
Because all my mates were going out at the weekends, or they were going down the park playing football, they were on Xbox, blah, blah, blah. Half terms, they were meeting up, going out, doing stuff, blah, blah, blah. I was going to work, and I wasn't even getting paid for it. So at the time, I was like, this sucks. Like, why is my dad making me do this?
Okay, yeah.
But I look back at it now. And I couldn't be more grateful. Like, it gave me a leg up. It gave me an insight to what it was like working for a massive company.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. I don't regret doing it one bit now.
Yeah.
I done a lot of voluntary work when I was younger. Like, I done my work experience through school at Marks and Spencer's, and then they said, "Oh, you're more than welcome to come back." I then done work experience with John Lewis. They then offered me a job. So
that's cool.
You know, I was very lucky. DeVere, done work experience there. They then said I could come back when I was ready to work and be paid for it. So I don't regret it.
You're obviously good at whatever you were doing. Whatever you were doing, you were giving 110%.
All that.
I saw that.
All that.
Oh, don't we know it, Drew? Don't we know it?
Just got all the mouth. But no, 100%. No. It's not that. I just enjoyed working. And do you know what it was? This is going to sound really. This is going to sound really bad, but I don't mean it to sound bad at all, because I love my friends and I love hanging around with my mates. But I just enjoyed hanging around with people that were older than me.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
Like, I enjoyed being around sort of people that were my older brother's age and older.
Yeah.
I learned so much, man. Like, I learned crazy amounts.
See, funny you
sort of
say,
stuff.
like, hanging around with older people. I don't know about you guys, but like, I'm pretty much the same, Drew. Like, going through, actually, to be fair, like, my first, when I say real paid job, was at the snow centre, and I was a ski and snowboard instructor. So, like, I think I turned 16 halfway through my exam, and then literally out the other side was teach people. And then everyone that I, obviously teach kids, teach adults and stuff like that. And like, the adult conversation was so much like, I wanted to just chat to people who are adults and learn from what they had done. And like, I was fascinated by education at that point. Weirdly, I was at the back of education. But like, when I was chatting to my mates, I thought, some of these guys are a bit childish. Like, not childish, but like, there's no...
It's the maturity level, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the maturity level. I think everyone grows up at different times.
Yeah. And I thought, like, it was like really good. And I enjoyed then being at work because I wanted to know who I was meeting and then obviously stuff like that. And I agree with you. Like, obviously there was mates there, really. I built a lot of friends there. My school friends I didn't really keep in contact with, to be fair. But yeah, like, having that adult conversation, it was a big thing. Like Josh said, shapes who you are today, of like who you've met and stuff like that, what you've learned. I think it's really good. If anyone gets the opportunity, is talk to everyone and anyone, really. Well, hence the podcast. Literally anyone and everyone.
But that's it. It's. I think for me, working at such a young age, and I think you two would be the same. Hence why we're both, or all of us, I should say, are able to do really well in what we do. Like, I now own my own business. I have been successfully running my business for 7 years. It's made it as far as I've made it. Drew, every job you seem to go into, you seem to absolutely kill it. And Josh, well, your body and everything speaks for itself. You're killing it. And I think that comes from a very young age of having that work ethic and driving and wanting more out of life.
Yeah.
Cheers, bro. Appreciate you.
Big
You're
love,
doing
man.
all right and all.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, you got to think about that. 7 years of business. What is it, like 1 in 10 or something like that? Businesses basically shut down in the first
Fail after the first year.
Yeah. 7 years, man.
And you know what? There have been points where I have questioned it, and I think, why do I do this? And I mean, I've run numerous fitness classes, and there was a Saturday that not a single person turned up to a class, and I just sat there and thought, why? Like, why am I bothering to come out at 6:30 on a Saturday morning and no one's even bothered turning up and no one's let me know? And do you know what? It was just an off day. It was just one of them days. And the next week I went and had 12 turn up.
Yeah.
It was just, there have been points where you just wanted to give up. But do you know what? I think the clients keep me going more than anything, and the love for what I do.
Yeah.
So even though it's got tough, and sometimes, like I said, I had to take on that part-time job just to keep the money coming in, just to keep some sort of constant income, because times get tough sometimes. But I don't regret anything, because I'm now self-sufficient on it, and it will be a successful business, and it will just keep growing from here on in.
Yeah. Talking of the future.
See, I don't. Go on.
Sorry, go on, Drew.
I was just going to say, I just don't envy. I mean, fair play to you, mate. Like, I mean, me and Josh have the luxury of going into work, going in, doing what we're meant to do while we're at work, coming home, switching off. You don't have that luxury. It's work all the time. So obviously, Josh, now with the gym and the personal training, you're obviously doing that a lot more now. And I see my old man as well. Obviously, he's self-employed, and he gets home from work, and he's back straight in the diary. He's straight making phone calls about the next day or confirming appointments, blah blah blah. There ain't a time to switch off. So, like, fair play to you, mate. Like, the pair of you, like,
So
what you do,
building the empire.
Yeah, and it does just take a lot of dedication. That's all it is. It's just time, isn't it? And just like you would with anything, like you sculpting your body in exactly the way you want it, it just takes time and dedication. And I've given my heart and soul into my business, and I'm now coming out the other end thriving. So
I wouldn't say
just
I've
onwards and upwards.
just where I want it just yet. But,
you know I was on about you, Drew B, always.
we'll get there.
Swans are out.
Sorry, I almost took up the whole screen. That did then, blimey.
At least you kept in good spirits in lockdown. What are you doing now? Are you back to work now, Drew? Are you?
No, mate. No. I've been furloughed until the 31st of July.
Yeah.
So, bit of a rough one. I mean, it is what it is. Like, obviously, working in the travel and tourism industry. Obviously, I work in retail, but I work for Warner Brothers. So a lot of our business is coming in from outside the UK, and obviously we see thousands of visitors every day. So, it is what it is.
You got to be positive at the end of the day.
I'm lucky. I've had my brothers here, so we've all been. It's been quality having this. I don't think I've ever been so close.
One time. Yeah.
Yeah. Although my brother's been called back into work, so that'll be a bit of a test next week. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But hopefully with these new rules, people are going to be a little bit more willing to sort of maybe venture out and see friends and do a little bit more.
Yeah.
Obviously, still adhering to the
rules and the guidelines.
The rules, and being careful and controlling the virus.
Staying alert. That's why I drink coffee at this time of
night. To stay super alert.
Yeah. Just in case.
Josh Harding.
Yes.
I don't know how long this has been going on for, but I feel like we've been chatting for ages, which is good. Love this. This has been nice.
That's been great.
I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to go on to, Josh, before
I was literally going to touch on, because I appreciate it's late, and plus you've probably got clients tomorrow super early, so let's not keep you too long. Of the future.
Absolutely fine, boys. I'm actually enjoying myself, so please continue. You ain't bad company.
We'll go till 2.
Yeah, well, yeah, longest one yet. So
4 hours later.
Future of fitness industry. I was having a talk about this to one of the guys who's a GM of a gym, and we're kind of basically talking about how the changes and what might change. Now, what's your thoughts or what potentially is going to change, both within obviously your world and what you're doing, but also with the whole gym world? Because am I right in saying that you do some work within gyms as well? Like you'll take clients to gyms, or was it mostly?
Doesn't know, Josh Harding is a personal trainer. Just put that in there.
Yeah. So yeah, just for anyone who doesn't know, I'm a personal trainer. I run my own company. But yes, just in case anyone didn't know. So changes that happen with me. Obviously, I can't do any boxing with anyone, so I can't do any pad work, can't do any boxercise stuff, just because of obviously you can't abide by the 2 meter rule while boxing. Okay, not unless I've got some 2 meter things that I can hold out, some pads, but really, it's never going to work.
Sounds like my kind of boxing.
So the boxing's had to stop, sort of the stretching's had to stop, the physio, the massage, that's all had to come to a halt. And obviously will into the foreseeable future until we're given the go ahead. I've got people aching and chomping at the bit, wanting to get back into boxing, wanting to get physio again, just because obviously they've got lower back problems, they've got knee problems. I've got clients that we've been fine tuning their bodies to stay away from having all these injuries, and now they've gone 3 months without a massage or physio. So some clients' bodies are not declining, but they're hurting. So that's the biggest change for me. Everything else, I can pretty much do it at 2 meter distance. Obviously, you know what it's like training. You can train with the partner, friend, pal, client, and abide by 2 meter rule quite easily. There's just obviously certain things you can't do.
What's your thoughts? Just jumping on, continuing what you're doing. We don't obviously know how much the economy and stuff like that is going to suffer so far. It could bounce back. It could not. Obviously, one of the main things that I found when I first initially, years and years ago, went into personal training was like, obviously, you're a luxury. So,
100%.
Things like the economy crashes or a potential for a recession, how are your clients? I know a lot of your clients, from where you say that you are, i.e. location, they're very affluent clients. They've got some dollar behind them, and I think that actually you've got a really good bond with a lot of your clients. So like you said, they're looking after the dog walker, they're looking after potentially yourself in these times where actually you can't come and try and make sure that they keep their slot with you. Do you think that a lot of people like yourself are going to struggle with, like, if there is a recession?
Potentially. I can only obviously speak for myself and my own personal opinions, and obviously my own thoughts, I guess. For me, I've worked in a gym numerous times, Bushy Grove, William Penn, and Woodside. I hated them all. For me, a personal trainer has to be personal. I get nothing more. I get a lot of self-satisfaction out of helping someone achieve a certain goal. And obviously in a gym, you don't really get to that personal experience with them. So my clients, I'm very thankful to my clients. My clients have kept me ticking over, just with online sessions, because I could have been out of business really quickly, because every Tom, Dick and Harry is doing free online sessions at the moment, free hit sessions. Joe Wicks does one every morning at 9:30. Alice Loving, I think, or Alice Fit, whatever her name is. She's doing one. Lauren's been following this other girl. A friend of mine's been following this other guy. There's been so many free things on there. I don't expect any of my clients to even want to train online with me, because what's the point? Why pay me when it's free? But a lot of my clients have just stuck with me. Obviously, again, doing a Joe Wicks online with 1,500 people isn't the same as me talking to you one-to-one. I can still be a little bit more than what Joe Wicks can be. I can obviously still be a little bit more personal. But obviously it's still a big commitment from them. I had a couple of clients who were training near enough 5 days a week, just because they had the time and they thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Obviously, I'm not charging normal prices at the moment because there's no travel time, there's nothing like that. So also they're more inclined to try and train more. And I think for their mental sake, a lot of them continue, just not even for physical reasons, but just mental stability. I think a lot of them really struggled in that first 2 weeks where we did nothing. just mentally. And I think you might vouch for this as well. It's been mentally tough for everyone, I think.
Yeah, massively. And I think actually
100%.
touched upon a really good point is like people's routine, they're training with you and things like that. And then suddenly there's nothing. And then you've got 2 weeks of nothing. Their potential mental state is, I've got X amount of steps forward and now all I'm doing is reversing. I'm slowly working back. And, their hard work is being undone. Potentially it might not have been at all. But when you are kind of left to your own devices, sometimes your mind, obviously, like as we talked about, can take over massively. What do you think about gym? Because I've had some conversations and a lot of people obviously doing home workouts. And I've heard a lot of people basically saying that there's that we all know there's different gym categories of people, I want to say, personas.
Yeah.
And some of these people have now invested into running or cycling or home workouts, and actually now could be a huge lag of I don't need a gym, and actually a lot of these gyms.
I 100%. Yeah, I think you might be right. I think I'm very lucky with my clients because they're not from a gym. I think very personal, so hence why they've kept me on. I know a few PTs, some of them that work in the Hemel Leisure Centre, who have had to go into care work, who have had to go into drop prescriptions off because obviously their clients aren't that personal to them. They're just a gym client in as such. They've not kept it going sort of thing. So I know they've struggled, and I know that they will potentially struggle when they're returning because I think people are going to be scared to go to the gym for starters.
Yeah.
I think people are also, like you just said, are going to realise, do you know what? Why do I need a gym? I've done this for 3 months on my own now. I don't need a gym.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a big thing. I think a lot of gyms are potentially going to go under.
Yeah.
I think gyms like the gym, our gym, Pump, I think the low budget gyms where they are relying on a lot of turnover and a lot of people pushing through the doors, I don't think they're going to make it because I don't see how you can have, the gym that you used to go to, was it the gym up in Jarman's Park?
Yeah. And the square foot.
Every time I've ever stepped foot in there was just 100 odd people, 150 people in this room, and you can't abide by a distance rule.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they're going to get the turnover of the heads going through the door.
Yeah. I totally agree. I was at the private gym that I've got access to today, and we were moving some of the equipment around. And so imagine a school hall, or no, imagine a basketball court. That's pretty much the size of one of the rooms. We had 4 treadmills, 2 ellipticals, a Smith, 2 benches, and some basically weight rack, and that was it. That was literally 2 meters apart, the whole thing. And it was like you could get probably 10 people in it.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
I'm going to
That's
I know
why-
what all of them machines are that you just mentioned.
What's that?
They're just machines.
Yeah, just like cardio and
Yeah, I know that one.
weight machines. But yeah, like
I know.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
and people are going to, I think what will happen is gyms are going to be looking at new systems. They're going to have time slots now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Allocated time slot that you have to sort of book on like you would a class.
Yes. Yeah, exactly that. Now, some of my sessions can go on for a long time, but like this is potentially
Can they? Really?
Yeah. But so this
Never noticed.
potentially going to be like a real weird situation to be like, okay, at 12 o'clock, I have to be at the gym, where sometimes you'd be like, oh, it's right, I won't eat today and I'll have that meal then, and then I'll go to the gym after that. Your whole day is going to be focused around a time slot potentially to get in and get out.
Oh, 100%. And what happens if someone tells you, Josh, you are only allowed from 12 till 1, then you got to go home? And you're like, well, no, I've got legs to do still, because obviously you love training legs. So what you're going to have to do, you have to skip leg day.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a... I can see there's going to be a lot...
very strange.
But not only that, but like wearing a mask when you're working out. Like that's surely got to be happening. But like you said...
100%. Gloves. Like realistically,
Yeah.
how are you going to make sure that the weights are cleaned after every single person uses them? Either someone's going to have to stand there and they're going to have like a cleaning station at the weights that someone has to clean like you would in a club. You know, you got the no spray, no lay, lady and gent. It's going to have to be like no spray, no lay on the gym equipment.
yeah, exactly. No, I'm trying to think of
What a brilliant analogy.
Literally, no spray.
That's all I had.
no
That's all I had. It's late. You know what I mean? It's gone 12 o'clock at night. That's all I had.
That's it, really.
No bench to get hench.
But realistically,
get in the bin.
What are they going to do? I don't see how it's going to be possible to abide by these social distancing rules without allocated time slots, restrictions on this, restrictions on that. Where does it end?
Pods, essentially like pods, like personal.
Do you think it gets to the point where
no one gives a fuck anymore? Absolutely, yes. Bring it on.
It just becomes a fact of life.
Yep.
Like
100%.
the flu.
Yep.
The flu is still there. It doesn't. It's not going
anywhere.
There is no cure for the flu. Do you think at some point, Corona just becomes?
If it's a virus, and it actually is a virus, because I read something the other day saying that someone in Spain, some scientists might think it's a bacterial of some sort. But if it is a virus, then viruses generally mutate all the time. Just like the common cold does, it mutates every year, hence why we get vaccinations every year, which is, in my eyes, pretty pointless, hence why I don't do it, because if the thing's mutating every year, what's the point of just keep having the same jabs when realistically it's just going to change anyway?
Plus, when they're doing those jabs, they're guessing that this could be the flu that comes this year, the influenza. I think it's a really good point. And I think one of the things that I think, like, Drew and I were talking about this the other day, and we were saying, like, we think it's just going to be something you eventually live with. But I think it's one of these things which really, like, literally, the thing with COVID, okay, it kills a lot of people. So it's a very fast-moving virus. But influenza obviously kills hundreds of thousands of people as well, which we don't self-isolate. We don't stop our kids going to school because the teacher might, have it or something like that. But the thing with like coronavirus, it doesn't kill that many, very low amount kids, where the flu kills kids massively as well. Yeah. So like, it's such a hard thing that I think, like we said, it's going to become the norm.
One of the hardest things is it's just unknown. I think that's why it's such a big deal and why we have to isolate, why we have to lock down, is because it's new, it's different. Yeah, we're learning. Like the influenza, we're aware of that, and it does kill a lot of people, like you say, all the time. But we're aware of that. It's new. Okay, we can sort of cope with that. We know what it is. Whereas COVID, we're panicking because we don't know what it is. We don't know how to treat it. We don't know if there's a vaccine. We don't know when there's going to be a vaccine ready. Yeah. There's just a lot of unknowns. And I think that's why the steps have been taken that have been taken. And I don't slate Boris Johnson at all like some people are. I think he's done the best that he can.
Yeah.
I think our government have done bloody amazing for what they could do.
We totally agree. I agree with you, Josh, in the sense of, look, Boris is firstly got to deal with Brexit for one, got thrown into that, then have a pandemic as well, have some of that, and no one's ever dealt with this in a lifetime. So
I'm not saying I'm a lover of Boris Johnson, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel he could have done any more than he has done.
Yeah, if you're being guided by the science as well.
Yeah.
Go on, Drew.
Who knows?
Go on, Drew. You want to say something? Do it.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's easy for me to sit here and I don't want to slate the guy at all. And I have said on here that I like, it's easy for people to slate him, but there's not anyone in this country right now that wants his job.
Oh yeah, I think that's a fair, true fact.
So, like, we can all sit here and slate him, or not slate him and say he's done a good job, whatever. I think there was. It's difficult. We're a country. It's hard to say. Like, if I want to speak my mind, but then I don't in the same breath.
Are you kind of saying, like,
that's what we're here for?
We could all agree, I think, that we could have locked down sooner. 100%.
100%. I'm not saying I agree with all his decisions. 100% no. We could have locked down quicker. I personally don't think school should have gone back at all. It's only taken Lauren 5 days to fall ill, and if that's COVID, she's a very vulnerable person, and that's just by her going in to school for just 5 days.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, her school has to shut down because she's been in contact with staff members who have been in contact with kids who now mean that COVID could be at that whole school.
Yeah.
Hopefully, fingers crossed it's not, but you don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also one of the big mistakes that we made as a country or politics is we didn't have this self-quarantine for 14 days if you're coming into the country. We had 18...
Big mistake, yeah.
Yeah, 18 million people come into the country or pass through the country. They're doing connecting flights, which could have then passed it to...
however many more.
If you'd suddenly locked that and done the 14 days, Jesus, you could be half in the numbers. And the weird thing was, the weird thing that I find about the government is they'll announce something which is coming up. They won't just say, from today, you can go and see one other person in a bubble or whatever, or from today, the shops can open. I understand from today, the 15th, the shops will open on this date, fine, because it gives them time to prepare. But when it's you can now go and see 6 friends as of Monday, and it's Wednesday, and everyone's like...
The difference between Friday and Monday.
Yeah, sweet, I'll do it now. We're British, we do what we want. But yeah, why are they putting a 14-day quarantine? And they're saying, we did this now because the numbers are low, so it works. What? When the numbers are high, do it. But actually, when the numbers are existing, why didn't we do it? What a weird concept. Sorry, Drew.
I think it's just... Yeah.
Like Drew said, it's hard. It's hard. We've not got probably all the information.
Exactly.
We don't know fully the stats.
Because I don't know everything.
We can only give our opinions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But there are certain situations that are very much in the public eye that you just sort of think to yourself, oh my God, what are you doing? That whole speech we had when they changed the slogan from that was the biggest amount of bull I think I've ever sat for in my life. I remember sitting in here with my old man and my brother watching that speech, and I walked out of here and I just thought,
what on earth was that?
What have I just watched? I would have rather have him come on the screen and just said, listen, it's not going away. Yes, the numbers are coming down, but we need to just carry on what we're doing.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. Listen, we've got it easy. Yeah, we're staying inside. Yeah, we're not allowed to see our family. Yeah, it's been tough. We're not being asked to go to war.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are still being paid, and I think
we're not being asked to sort of climb over a hill and get shot at by 100,000 armed men. We've got it good. Don't get me wrong, I think he's had the toughest job to deal with since Churchill.
Yeah.
And I don't envy the man at all. But there are certain situations like that
they've done a little bit better.
It could have been handled so much better. The Dominic Cummings situation.
Oh, that dragged on.
What was that?
But you know what? I personally think that whole situation was blown so out of proportion that it shouldn't have even made headlines. That was so irrelevant in the grand scheme of things that I think the media was so desperate to focus on something, they just annihilated this guy. And I'm not saying I agree with what he did 100%, but at the same time, I don't see too much wrong with him being in a car, travelling 6 hours on his own.
I don't see anything
or
wrong.
Him sitting in his home for 6 hours on his own.
When he's the chief advisor, making
he
the
should
rules,
be setting an example.
And then
100%.
breaking them, and then Boris sitting there backing him up.
There's no consistency.
It was just what is going on? How can you sit there and be whatever?
It's a hypocrite. He was a hypocrite.
He was trying to do what was best for his family.
And I think we all respect that. But you're in the public eye, like you said, he should be setting a good example.
It was, and more to the fact that Boris just went and sort of said, "Listen, I understand why he done it," and it was just oh, Boris, mate, what are you doing?
He needed to show a bit of authority, and he needed to just say, "Look, you've cocked up."
Yeah, what have you done? Why have you done this?
Yeah. I think one of the things that is, like you said, Josh, is like that they strung it out so much, and the media tore him a new one. Which suddenly we were talking about this.
I don't agree with that.
Is Caroline Flack? She took her own life because she got absolutely smashed to pieces by the media and people on Twitter and whatever else. And I was thinking, if we
did we not learn?
Yeah, if we woke up the next day and this guy's taken his life, because the amount of hate and stuff like that, I was shocked by it. But it was the fact that like it was done though. 2 days, 3 days later, look, you've been bad, whatever. We've had all like the sit down speech and this, and he's done all the questions, and then you kind of like going on. It gets to a week later, and everyone's like, "Yeah, but Dominic Cummings." You're thinking, what? Look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Why don't we just focus on that for a moment? Like,
just leave it, yeah.
Like, just get on with it.
I do agree with that. I agree with that. I just think when you're in the position that he is in,
he should be setting an example.
I don't agree with all the hate and all that and all like the horrific. I've read some of the comments, like sort of the things that are being said to him. It was just like, geez, it was
uncalled for.
It was rough, and like the letters his family were getting sent as well, and it was just like, like, guys, chill, like slow your roll big time. It was mad.
But like you said, if you're in that position, and
you've got to just, and if you're in the position and you're going against everything that you're telling everyone else to do,
you're gonna get called out.
You're gonna get called out. You're gonna have people coming up to you saying, "Hang on, what are you doing? You're telling me to stay at home to save lives, but yet you're going out driving your kid
doing whatever
6 hours up the road, 6 hours up the country." It was just all of it. It was all a bit crazy. It was a bit mad. I think there's other things people have got their minds. I think other things have taken over.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Let's not go there. It's late.
Yeah, maybe. I think we can probably sit.
That's a whole other podcast and 3 different other guests as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a whole nother level, which I'd love to talk to you boys about, but we just haven't got enough hours. Well, we've run out of today's hours anyway. We're on to tomorrow, but that's a whole other ball game. That is.
Yeah. We'll have to get you back on. One thing I did like, Josh, is you spoke your mind on something, and that you got a lot of people come back to you on basically rebuttals, basically like trying to crush your point, and basically, actually, it wasn't even trying to crush it. It was just like disregarding it. And this is the thing that like is very bad at the moment. Is look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. This is the whole world that we live in, and everyone's the preacher. Where look, I'm all for people educating each other and stuff like that, but
100%.
You can't drill someone so much in their point and stuff like that, and just have an answer for everything. And I thought, actually,
and you know what? That was
your comebacks, and it was brilliant. I thought you'd done a really stellar job of like a balanced argument.
I just shared this video because in my head at the time, what she was saying made sense, and I still believe what this woman was saying in that time made sense. I never posted it saying I agree with her, never posted saying I disagree with her. I just thought she made sense in the video. I posted it. And then obviously someone took it upon themselves to take it in a certain way, and then sort of, like you said, tried to dismiss. Well, he didn't dismiss anything, almost tried to call me a racist in one way, sense or another. And you know what? I was so shocked at how many people started commenting, how many different people. I got several messages, all supportive messages, just private messages saying, I can't believe he said that. We know you're better than that. Don't rise to it. And all these things. And all I was doing was just giving my opinion. And my opinion was neither here nor there. It was just slap bang in the middle. Saying that.
Is it on Facebook?
Yeah, it's all on Facebook, mate. Go and check it out. Daniel Green is the one that started it all off from school.
Right.
He's very left-wing. He's very, very left-wing. And I think that's where his opinions come from.
Yeah.
He's liberal, very left-wing, and I think that's where his opinions come from. And if you look at it from a liberal way, his way might make sense. But it was just an opinion, and every argument that he threw at me, I'd like to think I handled it well, and I didn't shut him down. I just agreed with him and said, look, your opinion's your opinion, and I've got mine. And there was no right or wrong.
They bite.
No, and they do bite. And he just kept going on and on and on. And in the end, I think he just got bored because every point he was trying to make, I was trying to show him, well, look at the other side of that and then see what your opinion would be. And he just didn't want to. And I think in the end, he just probably got bored and then just disappeared. And then a few other comments come in, but just all people's opinions. And Drew, you should have a look at it because do you remember Gemma from school? Blonde Gemma, very good at football. She commented on it because she now lives out in the States. She's now married with a kid out in the States. And we had a little bit of a chat on there. Bethany Beckett from school, we've had a little chat. So it's been quite nice, actually. I got a lot of support and actually spoke to a lot of people that I haven't spoke to since school, 6-7 years.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah.
Daniel Green.
You handled it really well, mate. And I think, like, you're right. You know, the one thing that I can see is that there is a problem. Yes, 100%.
100%, and no one can argue there isn't.
Yeah. But also the fact that the problem is now going from kind of protesting, and then there's the minority of them that are out basically just to have a bit of a fight, maybe cause a bit of trouble, and then suddenly...
And that's the thing that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
I mean, the looting and the violence and the decimation of art statues and things like that, I think is despicable. You don't see Martin Luther King and people like that violently beating down on police officers and smashing up innocent people's shops and stuff like that. And that was my point I was trying to get across, is there is ways to do things and there's ways to get things done. In my opinion, violence and looting and all of that is just not the way.
Beneath it, yeah. And it lost the whole purpose of what people are trying to support, I think. It kind of took the whole thing away. I
do agree though. You can't judge the movement. You can't judge an entire movement by one small minority of people.
Yeah, you can't paint everyone with one brush. 100%.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, look, let's not go down. We're going down the rabbit hole.
No, we said we weren't even touching that topic, and now we're touching it.
We're doing it to ourselves. It's too much. It's too much of a hot topic not to talk about, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
I love it. I love talking about it. I love it.
I don't. I hate it. I grimace every time we mention it. I'm like,
do you know what? I do now as well because I'm almost scared to say anything.
This is it, man.
As simple as
it's
that.
crazy.
But that's
I heard something on the radio, and it's freaked me out, and it was just.
Do you know what it is, Josh?
Go on.
I'm scared not to say anything. That's the point it's got to.
What, that you're... Yeah. It's almost like, say we're all here and
you have to follow it now.
You have to say something.
That is, everyone's coming...
You have to...
Drew, why aren't you saying anything? Who are you with? Is that...
It's like I mentioned it the other day. I'm 100% not a racist. I've got black friends and, you know, I love them I love them like I would love anyone else.
Yeah.
But it's not enough now. It's not enough to just not be racist.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. That's mad.
It is mad.
It was something I heard on the radio that scared me, and it was an African. I think it was an African American. I think she was an American. Anyway, so she was talking on there, and she was saying how that she finds it offensive when people say that they don't see colour. Now, I held my hands up. I probably said that I don't see colour in people because I generally don't. Obviously, I don't care what colour you are. But she said she finds that racist. So then the producer on there was like, well, what do they say then? And she was saying that she finds it racist because she wants people to recognise colour and she wants people to know that she's black. So she finds it offensive when people say they don't see colour. But then in my head, it's like, well, what do you say then? What do you say to show that you don't care? Yeah, it is a catch-22.
Yeah.
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 All right. Cut. Yeah. We're going down the rabbit hole soon. We're going down.
We're just going to lose ourselves.
It's so easily done. Right. Josh, we do it with everyone on the podcast. What was that?
I was just saying, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Super late as well.
Oh.
We really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. It's actually quite fun, boys.
We're not finished yet.
Yeah. Sorry.
Perfect. This is just the interval, right?
Yeah. What do you mean? We're carrying on. I'm going to make a coffee.
Get the M&Ms in.
Josh is going till 3 o'clock in the morning after that coffee. He's golden.
Yeah, that's it. This is Josh prime time.
I'm only joking. Right. We do it with all of our guests, Josh, that we have on, getting away from COVID and everything else that's going on at the moment. Obviously, you've mentioned what you've been doing in lockdown. But what would be your top tip for maybe people that aren't in your situation where you're obviously still working to an extent? What would be your top tip to people to get through lockdown?
Yeah, coping mechanism.
Positive attitude. And I genuinely, it sounds so rubbish to say that, because it's not, you don't have to give anything, but it is just generally be positive. Like I said, in my situation, I did struggle at the beginning, and physically, mentally, it was tough. And it's just a positive attitude that has got me through it. And Lauren has been my rock as well. So if you've not got someone to lean on in your house, use your friend, family, and just be positive. And I think if you've got a positive outcome on life, positive things will come your way. And even if it is just small little things, just appreciate the small things that you do have. I mean, I've still got so much, even though I haven't been able to do anything. I'm still very appreciative for what I do have.
Sweet.
Love that. There you go.
That couldn't have said that better myself. And he didn't say keeping a routine, which I could be more happy about.
Do you know what? I don't think you can keep a routine right now, can you? Like, realistically, can you? It's just all over the place.
Yeah.
You've got to be incredibly strong-minded to stay in the same routine as you were before, and fair play to anyone that can. I've been so blessed that me and Josh have been doing these, and majority of them have been in the morning.
And you guys have had some really cool guys. You've had some really cool people on here as well.
Mate,
and you're branching abroad, which I love as well. Branching abroad here, yeah, I love it.
We've got
some cool people coming on.
Actually, can I say? We can't say.
Yeah,
God, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, no. So like tomorrow night, if you're still good with it, Drew, we've got a woman called Christine. She's coming on. She is a former police officer in the United States, and she's
amazing.
Yeah,
I reckon that rabbit hole's going down tomorrow.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to talk about it tonight, you bastards.
But yeah, so we've
had some wicked guests on.
Yeah.
There was one guy, what was his name? He did make me laugh, though.
Tony?
He was, he was just the Bible. He was just preaching and preaching and preaching.
Hawaii.
Jason Graves.
Yes, that's it, yeah. Do you know, it seems like a really nice guy, but he was
so cool, man.
Preaching a lot, but it seemed like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Harmless.
We said we were cut short a little bit. We're hoping we can get him back on at some point. But
he's just a really interesting guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird story.
Although I mentioned that the next time he does a podcast, he has to be inside because I don't want to have to look at his view.
Yeah. Oh, he did have a nice view.
Beautiful.
And you had
living on the beach.
Jamie something, who was quite an interesting guy. The one in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Jamie was really cool.
But no, it's good to see you boys have kept yourself occupied with this. It's something to make you feel fulfilled, I guess. It's wicked.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like I say, I've been so thankful for this, and the fact that we've been doing it nice and early as well gives me a reason to sort of get up in the morning.
Nice and early? You've taken the piss, Drew.
Well, early for me. 10 o'clock is early. I'm getting up earlier than 10. I don't want to be like, I don't want to come down to start the podcast and I don't want to everybody. You know, I've got to be this bundle of joy and energy all the time, 24/7. You know me.
No, it's good. It's good. I think you boys should keep it going even after lockdown once it resumes back to normal. I definitely think you boys should keep it going.
Yeah.
We will certainly try, man.
Cool guests.
Big things are happening. And if you look on Facebook, the Queen's coming on soon. So
yeah, brilliant, mate. I'll tune in for that one 100%.
Oh dear, old Liz is coming on.
We've got old Liz.
Yeah, it should be good fun.
Right, Josh.
Anyway, Josh, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. We'll let you go.
No, boys, thank you very much. You have a lovely evening. I'm sure I'll speak to you boys soon.
Yes.
You
Take
too,
care,
man.
mate.
Take it easy, bro.
And Lauren, and look after yourselves, man.
Yeah, let us know. Make sure let us know she's all right.
Yeah, I'm sure we're all good, boys. Thank you very much, and have a lovely evening, guys.
You too, bro.
See you later, man.
Catch you in a bit, boys.
Easy.
Bye.
All right. There you go, ladies and gents.
There we go, everyone. It's probably our longest podcast.
It is our longest, 1 hour 40, mate.
Hour 4, blimey, we're getting up to Rogan territory there.
Steady.
Maybe not.
Halfway. Good
Halfway.
times, though, eh?
Halfway.
There you go, ladies and gents.
We could go for another hour and a half if you want.
Yeah, we could.
Just me and you.
Subscribe.
No.
Let's just do that bit. Subscribe, follow, like, watch us on Twitch. Other bits are available too. But
what was that? That was the worst sign out I've ever heard in my life. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, turn notifications on, follow us on Twitch, follow the Instagram at XXL Podcast, follow the Facebook page at XXL Podcast. I've been your boy Drew. That's Josh. Hope you've enjoyed. See you later.
Adios, amigos.